Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm starting my Mustang Cobra II project. I had tested the power to the positive side of the starter. So basically I tried jumping the starter out and it just clicked. So this car actually came with a mini torque starter in the car. Looks like they knew the starter was bad. I have it right here. So I'm gonna try to install this guy today. But I'm running into some dilemmas. I realized that both motor mounts are bad and I can't access the lower starter bolt. So I got the top one out. The top one was easy. Just went up and over the frame. And to get the starter out right here. Top one was easy because I actually see the bolt hole right there. But the bottom one literally sits on this frame. I don't know if we can see it here. Let me see where we at right here. Where are we? There we are. There's a starter. The bolt is buried above this piece of crossmember frame here. So I'm trying to get to it. I currently have this motor mount loose off the frame, and I'm working on removing the entire motor mount because even if I do get the starter out, it's not going to fit through this hole. And there's no way to get it out this way because it's completely blocked in by the frame. So this motor mount has to come out completely. So I moved removed the lower ones. These were 9/16, and then the top ones, one right there, and the other one is buried in there. That's a 5/8. So I'm working on that right now. So I got the motor mount out. See, it's right here. I want to replace these. These look bad. I might have a set similar to this, but the Mustang 2 is pretty unique. The other one doesn't look too great either. You can see it's separating right there. I had a chain holding that side of the engine down, if you can believe that. But I'm gonna go ahead and detach this wire up here on the motor, and because the new one came with a whole new wire, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right, after getting that lower bolt out with some extensions and swivels and the rest out with a 1/2-inch wrench, little by little she got out. So I pulled her out. She's hitting the motor mount support right there. But I'm actually taking this upper harness bolt off right now and see if I can pull it all the way out. Maybe I don't have to lift up the motor so high to get her out. Let's see. Come on. All right, you're off of there. Let's see if I can get her out of there. That's a big freaking dookie starter. Oh, she's not wanting to come out. She's fighting me to get the hell out. Come on. She don't want to move. Oh, there she is. Holy crap. That's a big fucking piece of shit starter. She's out. Looks like there's a rat's nest in that bell housing. Let me see if I can get that all out of there while I'm out. I'm going to pull the harness off up top on the starter relay next. Come right up here. Disconnect. Here on this side. Alright, I'll get that right now. Alright, so here's the mini starter. Since this has the relay built into it, you're going to run the positive to the same side that the starter solenoid was on here. And then run the other one to, I'm guessing, the ignition relay. I'll check on the Torino because I ran the same setup on the Torino. So I'll look at my Torino real quick before I wire it up. I'm going to clean that bell housing out and slide this guy in place. Alright, this one was so much easier to get in. I got the bolts back in. I used the 2 original bolts. This mini starter came threaded on the top bolt, so you just had to pre-start the bolt into the starter so that it drives right into the bell housing for the top bolt. And the bottom one just threaded into the bottom of the bell housing by itself. So now I'm just gonna finish secure this. I put the motor mount back. Now I'm just gonna lower the motor back down so I can put this bolt back through, and then I'm gonna wire up the starter. All right, so I'm working on the wiring right now. The battery side I took off. I'm getting ready to replace this starter solenoid. So I ran this starter wire. I ran power to the start position wire, and as I expected, it was this red with blue stripe wire. I tested it. It worked out fine. When you hold the start position, that lights up. Ignition to the coil was working, so I got that working also. But I was not getting start to the other side of the starter solenoid on this side. So what I'm getting ready to do is replace this starter solenoid right here, or the starter relay. This guy here. I've had to replace these on Fords many times. I found an old one here. I think this came out of my Torino probably, but it's the same one. I'm going to swap it out, and if that one doesn't work, then I'm just going to go buy a brand new one. But while I was down here, I also soldered a new copper end onto the main power wire to the starter. This is the start position wire for the starter to send signal from the start position from this guy here. And I also cleaned up this. This was I'm not sure what this wire is for, but this one was connected to the positive side of the battery. Not the battery, but the power that goes to the battery from the starter solenoid on this side here. So I just cleaned that up. It was just wrapped around the screw. I put an end on it, soldered it on, shrink wrapped it, and I got them all color coordinated, separated to my own knowing of which wire goes where. So I'm going to try to swap this out right now and see if I can get it to turn over, or see if I can at least get power to this bolt on this side from the starter wire on this side. So this is the start position wire, the one I'm pointing to with my thumb right here. And then when you turn the key, that should send signal to this side here and then transfer it over to this side here, sending power down to the starter. So let's test that. All right, so I ran the starter wire to the same side as the battery, and then the starter solenoid wire for the start position off of this side here, off the starter solenoid itself, or the starter relay. I keep confusing these two. But anyway, factory position for the starter position wire right here. I'm running this. I checked for ignition power. I don't know why the ground for the ignition is hanging off. I haven't played with that yet, so I gotta figure that piece out. So I swapped all the wiring out. I actually put a different battery in it because the battery that was in it I think was not taking a good charge, so I just threw another old battery in it. It turned over, but it was turning over really slow, and I had checked the oil and it was full, but I was like, let me check this oil again. So I said, forget it, I'm just gonna do an oil change. I did an oil change, and just really old. You could tell it's been probably 18, 19 years since this thing was on the road, and that old ass oil was in here. So I ran some engine flush through it and put some new oil in it. Now it turns over, but I'm not getting fuel or anything like that yet because I don't have the fuel pump turned on, but at least you can hear it turn over. So it does turn over. I'm gonna let the battery keep charging. I was able to mount the new hoses for the radiator also. I'm still working on mounting the actual radiator because it's not fully secured yet. I got 2 bolts on that side and no bolts on this side, so I want to get the 2 bolts on this side, fill up the radiator with antifreeze, so figure out the coil pack, negative wire, ground that out also, and then I'm going to run ignition power to the mechanical fuel pump and see if I can get the electronic fuel pump to pump and get fuel in here. But it was good to just hear this thing turn over just now, so stand by. Alright, so I flushed the oil out like I said. I just topped off the antifreeze. The air cleaner that came with this car says 289 on it, but it's not a 289, it's a 302. I'm going to go ahead and see if she'll fire up. I just put a little bit of starter fluid in it just to see if she's getting a spark. washer turns over good. Well, the starter works. That was the task for today. Actually, it took me 2 days. The video, I got the starter in yesterday and was able to wire it all up today. Change the oil, filter, top it off with antifreeze. I put a little bit of starter fluid in the carburetor, propped open the choke a little bit to see if that would help it crank over and actually fire up for a quick second. But I gotta figure out some other wiring. This yellow wire coming off the ground side of the ignition coil. This other wire coming off here. I'm gonna have to look at the wiring diagram of this car because it is getting ignition power. I tested that. This wire is open. I don't know why. It was cut open like that. And then the coil pack itself is just sitting in here. So I gotta get the bracket to mount that properly. And I'm probably gonna pull some spark plugs out, or at least one, to test it. I might as well change all the plugs if they're bad or ugly looking or just fogged out. So stand by, stay tuned, and hopefully we can get this thing running maybe this weekend. All right, thanks for watching.